Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Arctic Night Live. We are coming to you from Rådhustorget, the town hall square in Umeå, Ubmeje, Sverige, Sweden, at the Arctic Arts Summit 2026. We welcome all of you here at Rådhustorget enjoying your late night drinks, and of course all of you in Siberia and Alaska enjoying your early morning drinks, and all of you in between, and everyone else. I want to start by acknowledging tonight as well that we are on Arctic land. This is the lands of Arctic people. And we are gathered here because we share land, we share power structures, we share capitals that are far away down south and polar bears in our streets. Well, maybe not so much in Umeå though, but we share mosquitoes. We are here tonight to give you Dudu, a wonderful musician from Kalaallit Nunaat, Yevgeny Goman, a wonderful musician from Arctic Russia and Northern Norway. We have with us Martin Gelin, a soft power expert and journalist, and Naya Dyrendom Graugard, who found herself in the center of a Danish media scandal. That's not bad. Today is the 17th of June. It is the National Day of Iceland. Congratulations, Iceland. This is the Arctic Night Live, in the Arctic, by the Arctic, for the Arctic. It is not just the Arctic that is in the focus these days. Preparedness, my friends. Preparedness is the new talk in town. Preparedness is everywhere, also on the stages of the Arctic Art Summits. We are told we need to be prepared. That's why we need to spend more money on weapons. That's why we need to dig out more minerals from mountains. That's why we need to not question the national states. That's why we need to kiss Donald Trump's ass. To be prepared. That's what we're told. The people of the Arctic has always been prepared to fight back threats of cultural extinction, not just from the enemy outside, but also from the capital within. We have been prepared for Copenhagen, prepared for Ottawa, prepared for Stockholm, Washington, Moscow. We're good at being prepared. Now, we also need to be prepared for the new sheriff in town, the short guy in the Kremlin, the Chinese wannabe, and Bibi Netanyahu and the State of Israel, who every day and every night continue to murder the children of Palestine. We know that these boys have lots of toys that they love to play with, but there is also another kind of threat and another kind of preparedness. We have for a long time been under cultural siege. The American tech oligarchs are feeding us American culture in all channels, and they are ready to crank up the volume. From now on, everything will be more fake, more anti-democratic, more nationalistic, and more controlled by their ideological Führer. America has always known that culture is an effective weapon. In the 1950s, the CIA paid American artists to spread avant-garde jazz and abstract paintings to the world. The point wasn't really if people liked avant-garde jazz or abstract realism. They didn't. The message was not the jazz. The message was America is the land of the free and home of the brave. Here you can do whatever you want. If you have the money, of course. Nobody said that. Trump, on the other hand, doesn't trust artists. What he attacks hardest in order to shape the minds of people in his own image is exactly culture. He attacks museums, libraries, universities, and the name of mountains. This is Denali in Alaska. Yes, it's the highest peak of North America. Denali in Alaska, the highest peak of North America. It was called Denali, a name people living in this area probably have used for thousands of years. Denali just means high. Alaska was first colonized by Russia, then Russia sold it to the USA. And when the first white gold miners came along a little bit over 100 years ago, they wanted the highest peak to have a proper name. And they named it Mount McKinley, after an American president. 100 years later, President Obama changed the name back to Denali, but then Trump came back to office in 2024, and he had his first day at work. And of all the things he could do at his first day of work as the President of the United States of America, what did he do? He made sure that this mountain, again, officially is carrying the name of a white, straight, rich, dead man who has never been to the Arctic. The Swedish Defense Research Agency has just made a report addressing the role of culture in arts and preparedness. They are warning us that in the hands of dictators, culture and arts become weapons of propaganda. Well, that's great. The logical answer to that would be to massively fund free and experimental art in Sweden. But that's definitely not what the Swedish government is thinking. But the Faroe Islands, they are onto something. Just like Kalaallit Nunaat, the Faroe Islands are part of the Kingdom of Denmark. After the Danish elections in March, Denmark was without a government for months. There were hard negotiations between the different parties. The Faroes have 2 mandates in the Danish parliament. And what did they bring to the negotiations? What did the members from the Faroe Islands demand in order to support a new Danish government? They did not ask for money. They did not ask for trade or missiles. They wanted the right to apply for a membership to the IOC, the Olympic Committee, on their own. They wanted the Faroese flag on the chest of their athletes. If they have any Olympic athletes, I don't know. They don't want to compete with Dannebrog on the chest. Dannebrog, that's the name of the Danish flag. Whoever thinks that culture and art and symbols are not important can have a talk with the Faroese, or the Kalaallit, or the American presidents, or the Russian president. Culture and arts is a battleground, and the empires are constantly striking back. But we are the rebellion. We are prepared, always prepared. And on that note of being prepared, do any of you remember the credit roll video from last night? Eva was engaging with that Swedish king, the statue of the Swedish king, remember? I hope you enjoyed it. Well, spoiler alert, last night, after last night's show, we were making the video for tonight's credits, and you will see that at the end tonight. Eva was hanging a new street sign. A street sign like this. Can you see that, the whole thing? Yeah. It's a new street sign up at Renmarkstorget, the Reindeer Field Square, just down the road there. The sign says the Reindeer Field Square in Umeå. Yeah. Because there are no Sami street names in Umeå, no Sami street signs in Umeå, and an update was indeed needed. And that was a good place to start, the Reindeer Field Square. But did we have a police permit? Did we have a polistillstånd? Yep. So please, everybody, we need to, first you need to see me, yeah, there I am. We need to sell this last sign in order to pay the fine we will get for illegal postering. Yeah, did you know that in fact, it's illegal in Sweden to put up a poster in the wrong place? We need that picture again now in the corner, please. Yeah, there we are. It's illegal to put up a poster in the wrong place. Did you know that in Sweden it's illegal to hold the ladder of someone posting a poster in the wrong place? Did you know that in fact in Sweden it's illegal to film someone holding the ladder of someone putting up a poster in the wrong place? Well, at least our photographer kept the memory card when the police took the camera. Yep. So go to our shop over there and buy this sign or buy a t-shirt or anything. What can a sign like this cost? What do you think? Maybe we can sign it off here and sell it like an artwork? A cheap artwork maybe? What's a sign going for these days? 1,000 Swedish? Yeah, that's a bargain. It's going to be in the shop afterwards for 1,000 Swedish. It's great. You have no idea how perfect this is. This was real life testing of soft power against hard power. Posters and ladders against armed police officers. And our next guest is journalist and writer Martin Gelin. He has written this book, Mjuk makt, Soft Power. It's also written in English, so you don't have to read it in Swedish. That's great. I hope he can tell us if we are getting somewhere here or not. If there is a point in all that we are doing here at the Arctic Art Summit, is culture capable of geopolitical change, or should we all just pack up, stop making art, and start joining the army? Martin Gelin, to the stage, please. Yay, great to see you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Okay, so my hope, Martin, is that you're going to answer this big question. Does it all work? Does this work? Does soft power work?
I mean, I think this summit is a perfect implementation of everything I'm trying to write about in the book.
Okay.
And I've done, since the book came out, I've done about 70 conferences and lectures and universities and speeches. And sometimes it's an uphill battle to explain what it's about. But since my first conversation with Maria Utsi at the summit, she doesn't only understand this. She has been implementing these ideas for almost 10 years. And every conversation I've had here is a kind of reflection of how successful this summit has been in bringing together these ideas of culture, art, democracy, resilience, preparedness. It's everyone I met here has a very intuitive understanding for how they are connected, and that's what I'm trying to explain in the book. So it seems like everybody already knows what I'm about to talk about. So.
Really? Yeah. But I think that book was amazing because it also shows examples. Where does it work? When does it work? How does it work? Can you give us some examples?
Yeah, I mean, one example is Ukraine.
Yeah.
When the war started, the full-scale invasion in February 22. I was at the conference at Harvard in the USA, and with soft power experts, and they were kind of apologetic about talking about this topic. We need to talk about missiles and hard power and how Ukraine can defend themselves.
Yeah.
And then a month later, the same group met again, and Ukraine was still around.
Still alive.
The pessimists said the war would be over in a few weeks, and everyone, a month later, everyone said, actually, soft power seems pretty important for Ukraine. Their ability to sustain support from allies, to be admired, to be respected by the countries across the world and in Europe who are sending them humanitarian and military aid. That's the reason that they're still a nation and that they've been able to so successfully stave off this brutal invasion from Russia. So, and it's still around, and I think it's a tremendous example of that. And I have other examples. South Korea has worked very successfully in enabling an ecosystem for culture and the art that has strengthened the reputation around the world. And I talk a lot in the book about reputational security. It's a kind of tweak of soft power for a more belligerent world, and I think South Korea represents that. Ukraine represents that. The idea that if you're admired, if you have friends, they're more likely to help you in a crisis, and it strengthens national security.
Right. Because going around in the Arctic Art Summit, I would agree with you. Most people here agree on this, understand this, but somehow, we imagine that might look different when you sit in a war department or a war ministry somewhere. But you would say that the government of Ukraine, they understand this, and do they implement this? With the goal of having the effect.
Very strategically, they've done so, particularly since 2014 and the annexation of Crimea. They realized that at the time they weren't very well known around the world. They weren't really respected and admired, and they invested a lot in diplomatic efforts and cultural diplomacy to enhance their reputation. Just as so many people that I met here are doing for the places that they come from, and that's the reason that in February 22, when Ukraine was invaded, millions of people around the world instinctively rallied in support of them, and that type of reputation and respect takes a long time to build.
And you see a direct connection between that reputation and how people support them.
I absolutely think so, and
it's connected to culture and arts.
Yeah, and most of the scholars that look at this, they say the same. Joseph Nye, who coined the term soft power, he said he passed away last year, and he said in one of his final, one of our last interviews we did before that Ukraine was the clearest example he's seen in recent years of the link between soft and hard power.
Interesting. And let's talk a bit about the United States, because that was been the champion of soft power in a way. But what is happening there now? How do you see this development from the Hollywood, the champion of soft power, all of this, and to where we are now?
Yeah, I mean, Trump is very aggressively destroying American soft power. The reputation and trust for America has fallen catastrophically and justifiably in Europe and in most of the traditional allies. Most European countries, about 70-80% now, have a negative view of America, and it used to be 70-80% had a positive view when Biden was president. So it's been the most dramatic fall in modern history, and his cutting diplomatic efforts, aid efforts. Elon Musk, as you showed here earlier, was in charge of cutting humanitarian aid, and that will lead to the deaths of 14 million people in the next 5 years, according to the Lancet magazine, medical journal. So, absolutely horrendous, unimaginably catastrophic consequences, and the world hates him for it.
But he doesn't seem to understand that.
I mean, I think he doesn't care that much.
Okay.
He cares about other things. But I think what the distinction I think that is important is I write in the book about strategic and organic soft power. And strategic soft power is the kind of work that presidents can do, that embassies, the government-sanctioned diplomatic efforts, like you were talking about the CIA sponsoring art exhibits in the Cold War. Organic soft power is the kind of culture that grows, without any government interference or interventions, often with indirect support of government funds and subsidies. But I think Trump is obviously severely damaged America's strategic soft power, but he can't really do that much about organic soft power in America.
Right.
We still have you know, you saw the Super Bowl halftime show with Bad Bunny celebrating, you know, a lot of the culture that is opposed to Trump. I think even the images of New York celebrating the victory, the Knicks victory in the NBA, and just this image of a you know, multicultural, pluralist city enjoying themselves. That is a reminder, and you know, with a Muslim mayor, very progressive, a very radically progressive Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They, those images really conveyed, I think, to the world that there is still an organic soft power in America. There's still something else than Trump.
So you're not too depressed or too pessimistic about the future?
I'm pretty worried, but I've been a pessimist for 15 years. I spent my time in America warning in books and articles about two threats to democracy coming from the Republican Party and from Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
You know, and now they have converged into this demonic force. And so what's happening now it was kind of expected to me, and I'm actually, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely not an optimist, but I'm a little bit surprised at how strong the Democratic, not the Democratic Party, but the Democratic small d Democratic opposition is still doing.
Yeah.
Not just in America, but in other countries where we've seen similar authoritarian movements, like Hungary, for example, and the way Ukraine has been able to resist Putin, and you know, there's still a lot of power in the people who oppose these authoritarian and fascist ideas.
And that, I think, is a great place to stop. We're at the last night of the Arctic Art Summit. We need a bit of hope. People standing up to the power. Thank you, Martin Gelin.
Thank you.
And now some more soft power. We have with us a good friend from Nuuk, Kalaallit Dudu. Gustav Lynge Petersen is a musician and producer, both working with his own music and together with many of the most central musicians of this young generation from Kalaallit. He comes to us with one of his own songs, Kanurna Isiyavinga. Isiyivinga. As best I can do tonight. Dudu.
Ippesaaqalullutin maluaasallusuutin qanorna isigivinga uiarterulorlutin assumisiarlutin qanorna isigivinga Sona dama du bivinga Ikketi uarlunga Kanona Isigivinga Sona dama du bivinga Ikketi uarlunga Kanona Isigivinga Kuago nungula kasigo Kuago nungula kasigo Kinamidaba nuwanaba Kinamidaba nuwanaba Iqorlunga Ilinnunna Lattarlunga Qanoruna Inusunga Nammatsikkaluarpunga Mittatiginerakadallunga Qanoruna Isivinga Sona dama du bivinga Ikitiuarlunga Qanoruna Isivinga Sona dama du bivinga Ikitiuarlunga Qanoruna Isivinga Ikuago nungule kasigo Ikuago nungule kasigo Ikuago nungule kasigo
Dodo. Ay, 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 ay. Yeah. Are you staying with us, Martin, or
I think I have
are
to
you-
call it night.
call it a
but,
night? Thanks for
Wonderful coming here.
Thanks for
Thank you.
coming. Thanks for coming. But Eva is with us. Eva is with us, and we have followed our friend Eva the last days here on her quest to build the Arctic Army. She's back here with us now. So, soldier, what's the situation?
Well, I actually wanted to come on here to say thank you to everybody who signed up to join the Arctic Army. And you know, yeah. And you know, Amund,
Yep.
people have been asking me, Eva, when does training start? Well, it's now. So if everybody can just stand up, also you people at home, if it's available to you to stand up. So we're gonna do some movements together. And you know this movement, the most classic sign of resistance? We're gonna double that. 2 arms. And we pump them up to the sky. Yes. And then we're gonna do a move that's defend the Arctic. So you're gonna defend yourselves. Yes, defend the Arctic. Protect the land. Unite the North. And then I'm gonna quote Renate Arluk from the other day. She said we needed more Arctic hugs. So we have the fists. We have defend the Arctic, protect the land, unite the North, more Arctic hugs. Amund,
Yeah.
the other day you signed up with that you could, as a skill, play the marching drum.
Oh, yeah. Of
Are you
course.
ready?
I am ready. I'm always ready to play. For you, Eva.
So it's like a boom, 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 boom.
It's like a boom, boom.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this is a boom, boom drum, but I can try.
And also everybody, you can sing it with me. So we have defend the Arctic, protect the land, unite the North, more Arctic hugs. So you can just chant it with me.
Boom, boom,
But
boom.
we start with the fist.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
I'll do like this.
We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Defend the Arctic, protect the land, unite the North, more Arctic hugs. Boom, 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 boom. Defend the Arctic, protect the land, unite the North, more Arctic hugs. Galali, nunat, galali. marching.
Eva and the Arctic Army.
Whoa!
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Woo. Great job, everybody. Maybe there is hope after all. Now, over to something else. We will talk about a film that has shaken the relationship between Denmark and Kalaallit. We are talking about Ursujak, the white gold of Greenland. It is a film out of Kalaallit, directed by Otto Rosing and Klaus Pilehave. It's about the doings of a mining company owned partially by the Danish state, mining in Kalaallit. It was mining cryolites, the white gold, which is used to make aluminum for mirrors, cars, airplanes, and missiles. And then it becomes interesting. This mining company earned lots of money, enough money to build Marmorkirken in Copenhagen and make the investors very, very, very rich. The national Danish broadcaster, Danmarks Radio, was a co-producer of the film. It was published in February last year, but after only 10 days, Danmarks Radio depublished the whole thing and fired one of their editors. The official reason stated was that the decolonial economic calculation model that the film used to say something about how much money Denmark had made on the mine, and that was quite a lot, the model was incorrect. That was the official reason. Many also talked about the bad timing of the film, meaning that we cannot speak critically about the Danish state while Donald Trump is being a creepy jerk. Later, the film and the citizens of Kalaallit were made fun of by the comedian TV program Tæt på Sandheden, Close to the Truth, run by Jonathan Spang, the same Jonathan Spang who was then depublished himself because of allegations of sexual harassment of minors. The cryolite mine is now closed, but there are several new controversial mining projects going on in Kalaallit. The Australian company Energy Transitions has sued the Greenlandic government for saying no to a uranium mine, and that company has just now hired both a former Trump advisor and a Danish ex-foreign minister affair to assist them. And just last week, another American investor flew over to East Greenland in his chartered helicopter, trying to persuade a local community to let him start mining in their community. And meanwhile, the hole in the ground in the community of Ivitut, where the cryolite once was, is just as big as before, no matter how much or little money the Danish state made on it. That's quite a story. We need to be talking about this film in a new way, because those of us not being part of the circus of the Danmarks Radio would like to know more about the film and what that film wanted us to see and talk about. So with us now is associate professor at the University of Copenhagen and the protagonist in the film, Ursujak, the white gold of Greenland. Here is Naja Dyrendom Graugard. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So great to see you. I've been looking forward to this moment. I must say I've watched the film last year and I really enjoyed it. So thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
So tell us about the film. What did you and the directors and the team want to do with this film?
Well, first of all, we wanted to tell the story of cryolite, and we wanted to tell it in a different way from a Kalaallit perspective, because the story of cryolite has been sort of repressed or depressed in the storybooks. It's been side notes in the national consciousness or awareness in Danish consciousness and storytelling. But we also know in Kalaallit through our family histories and so on, that cryolite has been extracted for 135 years. And we've had the suspicion that this has probably created a lot of wealth for Denmark that hadn't benefited Greenland. So the team in the film started to investigate what kinds of numbers, what kinds of wealth this has created in Denmark. That was one thing. We wanted to show, sort of challenge the narrative that Denmark has always been sort of a benevolent, economically generous colonizer, pouring money into Galaslit Nunad without ever gaining anything from it.
Because that's the usual story we often hear, right?
That's the story we grow up with.
But
if you look at the Cryolite, this is a very clear example that, of course, this is not just the case, that colonization is also a story of extraction and a creation of wealth on behalf of the colonizers. And then, of course, we also wanted to tell the story of what kinds of consequences this has to indigenous communities.
Right,
Yeah.
the community where the mine was located.
Yeah.
So, and then the film got first published and then depublished. So, what happened? I followed when it was published, and I thought I'm going to see this, and then I had something else to do, and a few days went by, and then I was going to see it, and wait, it's gone.
Yes.
And it was kind of hard to understand what happened.
Yeah, well, first of all, I must admit, Amund, that I had never known there was such a thing as a depublication. So that was new to me too. I think it took maybe just 24 hours before the critique started rolling in Danish media. Okay. And the critique specifically came from Danish liberal economists, sort of claiming that you can't make anything out of calculating turnover, the turnover from selling the cryolite in Denmark. And this sort of just rolled on, and then it became a story of the numbers being false. The politicians, even the Minister of Culture in Denmark, went out and said this is, complete bollocks. And so it very quickly went from being a sort of economist critique of how to interpret numbers.
A more technical critique?
Yeah, to becoming a story of this being false or false news, rather than being different ways of understanding the creation of the colonial wealth. So after 10 days, the sort of public narrative is, or the public official story is that you can't, the film was not clear enough on what the difference between turnover and profit. And they didn't think that the Danish public could, distinguish the difference between that.
All right.
Yeah.
So that was a very technical critique.
Yeah.
But what do you think about the critique? Is there something in it, or how do you see that?
Oh well, it's a good discussion, right? But it's an economical discussion, and it's one that already exists in academia, and it's one that already exists worldwide. How do we actually understand the creation of colonial wealth, and how do we calculate that?
Right.
And also, how do we start to repair? But we never got to that part of the discussion.
Exactly, right, because economists ended up discussing whether or not this certain way of calculating was correct. What would you have wished that people would have seen instead of these numbers? And if people here want to go see it, what do you want them to see?
Well, of course we can have a discussion about numbers, and that's important, and I think that's part of it. And I think we can have a valid, nuanced discussion about that. But what was completely silenced in the story was the story of the people of Assuk. The people of Assuk, that's where my family is from. And in the film, I share my story and my family and my community's story. And we have very important oral accounts and experiences, lived experiences of Galaslit, and them sharing their stories of how, what kinds of consequences this had to Assuk community, because it had numerous environmental and social consequences. Just to name a few, the women of Assuk were isolated for at least 4 decades and couldn't move outside of their local community, and nobody could visit them. So this was a very clear example of a sort of a mini apartheid, right? while the Danish mine and the Danish workers just working in their ancestral lands had access to all the wealth and goods, while the local community sort of bore the brunt of the consequences of extraction from their lands.
And in fact, that local society was divided, right? Very strongly divided between the locals and the Danish workers. They're physically divided. And
Yeah, so the story in where they extracted it from, in Ividud, it became sort of like a mini Denmark inside of our fjord.
Exactly.
So, you know, the Danish flag, they ate Danish goods, bakery in the morning, and so on. And Assumiot people from Assuk couldn't access the fjord to hunt, for example.
You've become sort of the face of this film.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that has made some parts of your life difficult. But how do you see it now? Do you still stand by the film? Was it worth it?
Yeah, well, 100% I stand by the film because it's a good film, it's an important film, it's a very well-researched film. It took 3.5 years of research in the archives, interviewing people and so on. But it's not just about the film and standing by the film, it's about standing by our right to tell our story on our own terms and to stand by our right to continue telling our story without having to be legitimized by Denmark in order to do so.
And in fact, when this film was published in Denmark, it was very popular in Kalaallit Nunaat and played there, right? In the movie theater.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I am sure that people here would like to know where could they see this film.
Well, I have to thank very much our Sami cousins because it's available on Sápmi Film, and it's also available on Prime.
Okay, Prime.
And if you can't find it there, send me a PM and I'll send you a link.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much for your time, Naya.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you here.
you.
Give her a round of applause. Warm round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Then I believe that Eva has a statement to make. Is that correct, Eva?
Yes, yes.
Is there sound in your microphone too? Yes, yes.
Dear Amund, dear soldiers present here in Ubmeje, Umeå, dear soldiers at home, the time has come to protect the North. I have spent the past few days preparing for this moment. And I believe we are ready. I believe you are ready. I thank you for trusting me with the responsibilities that comes with leading the Arctic Army. But now it is time to pass on the forces. Please, roll the clip. Hello, I am here today with Jens Heinrich, the formal representative of Kalaallit Nunaat. Honored representative of the people of Kalaallit Nunaat, I hereby, on behalf of the Arctic Army, hand over the troops to you and the people of Kalaallit Nunaat. May you always be able to defend yourselves from unknown and known idiots and assholes, forever and ever.
Thank you very much, Lena. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Eva. That was beautiful. And thank you also to Jens Heinrich, who received. He is the head of the Greenlandic representation in Denmark, in fact. Now, this is the last night of the Arctic Art Summit 2026. And next time, we'll all meet in Nuuk in 2028. 2 years from now, that is exciting. Now let's see. In 2028, Donald Trump will be in his final year as president. well, if he hasn't managed to change the American Constitution and make himself president for life, or hell, you know, we might get lucky. The average life expectancy for American men, it's just 76.5 years. For white Americans, it's even lower. And Trump, he turned 80 just 4 days ago. You know, he might just any moment now. But if that happens, J.D. Vance becomes the new president. Yeah. The same goes for that short guy in Kremlin. In 2028, Putin will have stayed the supreme commander of Russia for 28 years. The second longest ever, only narrowly beat by Joseph Stalin. We will still invite exiled Russians to nuke, and if Kalaallit Nunaat has taken control over its own foreign policy by then, we will be able to invite Russian activists to visit in 2028 as well. Did you know, by the way, that it's Denmark who decides who can visit nuke? Yep. As a Russian citizen today, you cannot even apply for a visa because Denmark is refusing any visa application inside of Russia. You have to go to Turkey even to apply to Denmark to be able to enter Kalaallit Nunaat. Well, in 2028, Kalaallit Nunaat will possibly have further developed its sovereignty and separation from Denmark, but might also have opened up for Chinese mining companies and deep-sea offshore drilling in the Arctic to pay for the increasingly expensive welfare state and the establishment of the Greenlandic Army. Running an army is expensive. In 2028, there might finally be a Truth and Reconciliation Commission investigating the matter of the film The White Gold of Greenland. Denmark's Radio, the Danish national broadcaster, will have to admit that the decision of banning the film was an act of political hysteria, and the film will then be included in the official cultural canon of Denmark. Yeah. That would have been nice. Can someone call Denmark and tell them that? But it's not 2028 yet, and there's a job to be done, my friends. Why are we here? Why is there such a thing as the Arctic Arts Summit? Why have 700 people bothered to travel to the Arctic? It's a very expensive travel to visit a medium interesting city in Sweden. That's not even in the Arctic, or is it? I mean, I keep forgetting. Arctic, not Arctic. Where is the Arctic? Anyways, the reason why we all need to be here is because usually there are only Arctic summits without the arts, populated by people from far away from the Arctic. And we can't have that. We all have capitals down south. We all see the power being down south. We all know that the money from the mines, power plants, fish, and Northern Lights tourists from China ends up down south. And we also know that this is a battle we need to fight. That the people of the Arctic are the ones deciding the future of the Arctic, and that the world looks different seen from the north than seen from the castles and capitals. Let me tell you a secret. The world can change. It changes all the time. It changes all the time. We made it, we can change it. It's just a matter of in which direction it's going to change. The tricky thing with change is that it's often happening before we see it. When Trump is elected, that's just the final stage. The change has already happened. The change made it possible, even probable, for people to vote for him. And we are, all of us, in the business of creating change. That's what we do. Change is created in the culture, in the arts, in the minds of people. That's what we are doing. And that's why what we are doing is important. It matters. And that is why what we are doing is what all the iron ore, the armies, the power plants, and the preparedness and whatnot is supposed to defend. This is critical infrastructure right here. We need to take that seriously. We need to demand to be heard. We need to demand the resources to be able to be heard, because we are the defenders of democracy, culture, handicrafts, provocations, storytelling, royal insults, new road signs, languages hardly anyone can speak, and great music. That's what we do, and that is what we will continue to do. Thank you. We now have only one song left, but what a song. Evgeny Goman used to be the cultural minister of the city of Murmansk in Arctic Russia, but he crossed the border and is now an artist and curator in the north of Norway. He is here with us with a song about the war in Ukraine, about Russian propaganda, and about the hope for freedom. Soft power against hard power. My name is Amund Sjølie Sveen. This is the Arctic Night Live. We for sure hope to welcome you all back to this digital campfire sometime in the future. Until then, thank you and take care. Here is Evgeny Goman with Pravilo Dvuk Sten.
Arctic Art Summit!
Снаряды, в ушах с утра звучит тревога, и нет конца, лишь знаю только, никто еще не начинал. Святой водой крапили на пол, и сатана превыше Бога, и нет конца, лишь знаю только, никто еще не начинал. Я соблюдаю правила двух стен. Я на коленях, пока кто встает с колен. Я просыпаюсь, и в венах без перемен я соблюдаю правила двух стен. Полковников уж не осталось, вокруг пируют генералы, и даже Васин не вернулся, не досчитав и до 300. В борьбе за биоматериалы цепочки ДНК замкнутся. В Куала-Лумпур из Амстердама летит наш дружный самолет. Я соблюдаю правила двух стен. Я на коленях, пока кто-то встает с колен. Я просыпаюсь, и в венах без перемен я соблюдаю правила двух стен. Правила двух стен. Та-та-та-та-та-та-та, та-та-та-та-та-та, та-та-та-та-та. В рамках глобального потепления полуподвальные следы подтопления выполнят планы по высвобождению. Сроки найдя между строк. Сроки найдя между строк в целях цифрового забвения. В Кошкином доме опять задымление. Ждем беспощадного постановления. В доме Валешников прок. В доме Валешников прок. И сразу же после жесткой посадки все жестче. И взятки все сладкие. Пожалуйста, дети, откройте тетрадки и запишите урок. Вот что такое хлопок. Высшая сила накрашена, вымыта, маникюр, педикюр, на спине бант. И вечная истина, новая, свежая, выгодно смотрится новый имплант. Вечная истина, высшая сила, неизмененный перфект вариант. И неизменяемые изменения может менять неизменный гарант. И неизменяемые изменения может менять неизменный гарант. И неизменяемые изменения может менять неизменный гарант. Мы строим лишь большие планы, нам не оставили шанса. Ремень потуже мы затянем в технологический рывок. Нас записали ветераны, лишив синдрома самозванца. И если хочешь, рви стоп-краны, хотя какой от них уж Прок, 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 я соблюдаю правила двух стен. О, я на коленях, пока кто встает с колен. Я просыпаюсь, и в венах без перемен я соблюдаю правила двух стен. Правила двух стен. Правила двух, правила двух. Правила двух, правила двух. Правила двух стен.
Veldig klart. Dere burde jo